Hey guys, how's it going? Today we are going to be talking about Tegu Obesity. Since this does happen quite a bit, I see a lot of chunky Tegus out there. So I kind of wanted to talk about how you can kind of tell if your Tegu is getting a little chunky, how you can give them a nice diet to, help with them staying lean and fit and such like that, and what, is good activity-wise for them. So, you can tell if they're getting lazy, what you can do to encourage some activity. So let's talk about it. Make sure before we continue, though, that you check that lower right-hand corner. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure to hit that bell as well for the latest updates. We are closing in on 1,500 subs. I'd really appreciate it. But anyway, let's get to it, guys, and we will talk about Tegu Obesity. First things first, just to reintroduce Frap for those of you that are new. He is a little over a year and a half old, and he's a black and white Argentine Tegu. His locality is Chacoan, but there's said to maybe not be too much of a difference from regular black and white and that locality. Some things you just might see is a little bit bigger in size. They do tend to have these black bars being a little bit more prominent. And they might have a little bit of a whiter face and such, but there's really not too much of a difference, and some people say there's really not much of a difference at all. But I thought I'd just give a brief reintroduction to him, just in case you're new. The people who've been watching for a while obviously know Frappuccino. He's one of the more popular ones here. But I thought I'd just give that for context about, what his size is currently related to his age and such like that, and what exact kind of breed and whatever he is. So I thought that might just be helpful moving forward. But now let's actually talk about the weight problems. So there's a really nice indicator that's very obvious, at least to me, in Tegus and a lot of other bigger reptiles and monitor lizards and such, to tell sort of where they are weight-wise. Obviously, if a Tegu is really obese, or any reptile is really obese, you can definitely really tell because they almost look like a balloon. But you can really use this indicator that I'm about to talk about as a way to see if, they're starting to get over the tip of, normal weight, too obese, to get a little fatty. You can really use this to monitor their kind of progress and where they're at. So that, which is not obvious on him right now because he's basking, and I've been trying to get him up, but he doesn't want to. He's actually being really good right now. It's feeding day, and usually he likes to be a little bit more in my face, but what you can do is on the sides of Tegus, there's this little fold, and it's very prominent when they're standing up. Obviously, when they're laying down like this, they look like blobs, and that's just because they're spreading out sort of their belly on the ground. But when they're up, you should be able to see a nice distinguishable fold across the side of them. Sorry, I just shocked you, Frap. And that fold should always be prominent unless they just ate. So I feed him on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. And right after he eats, that fold is still visible, but it's a lot less than if you look at him after, on Tuesday or on Thursday or on the weekend or right after he pooped or something like that. And that fold's there to actually extend sort of the room they have in their stomach for when they eat. So obviously when they eat, it's going to be a little bit less vivid, which is, expected. That's totally normal. But once they're not eating, once, they poop, they digest, it should go back to be very distinguishable. So you should be able to really use that as an indicator of their weight. And you should be able to see them having sort of a muscular type figure. If they look kind of more fatty and blob-like and they don't look toned, and that really is a key indicator for a lot of reptiles. That's another sort of indicator they're on the chunkier side of things. But I really use that flap indicator as, my way of telling sort of Frap's weight. If, I haven't really ever had an issue with it, but if I was to see it less, I always get him yawning now. I'm so proud of you, Frap. Entertaining for the camera nowadays. You used to be so shy. But anyway, I use that fap there, or whatever you want to call it, that flap. I don't know why I said fap. I just can't speak English anymore, I guess. But, what's it called? I use that just to really tell where he is weight-wise. And it's always been a non-issue for me. And I think I have a really solid diet for him. Especially as I've gone on with him, I've really kind of narrowed in on what I think works well with him. And we can talk a little bit about the diet I have. I've mentioned it in the past, but I've kind of redefined it and kind of solidified it a little bit more since the last time I talked about it. But really what it comes down to is that if you have an obese Tegu, the problem is probably stemming from their diet. Activity is important, but usually the activity is not the issue. Obviously, if you have them in very cramped conditions and stuff, activity then could be a problem because they don't have the space to really be active and do the normal level of Tegu activity they do. But usually people give them that space they need, but their diet is usually where people kind of have a misunderstanding or something like that. So let's talk about Frap's diet, talk about what I offer and why I think it works well, and hopefully if he gets up, I can kind of show that little roll he has on the side of him. But I don't know, he's being very lazy right now, so we'll have to see if I can encourage him. Alright guys, let's go talk about diet. So for Frappuccino's diet, I've really done one key thing lately that I think has been very good with him. I really don't have any, solidified data or anything that I can do to prove this other than just a hunch. But I've really been switching him over to having 1/3 of his diet be all whole prey. And I've usually been doing this with small rats, but I would like to mix in some quail and some other whole prey items. I really think that helps them a lot. Obviously, there's some fat concerns with some whole prey items, but if you're good about it and you understand kind of how much they should be eating, because they will eat more than they should be eating if you offer it, you could really kind of take control of it. And like I said, it's only 1/3 of his diet, but I really think that has first of all, I've noticed a big improvement in sort of really healthy poops of his. In the past, he somewhat had always sort of wet poops, not exactly diarrhea, but not really well formed. But with this whole prey addition being more prominent lately, he had more solid poops, and it just really looked, I don't know, very poop-like, I guess. So, but as those of you who know, who keep reptiles, poop is a very big indicator, as disgusting as it is, to the health of your reptile, of your animal. So that's good. And I've also kind of seen him get a little bit more lean and defined in terms of muscles. Obviously, I don't want to speak to this too much just because, this is kind of just very little observation and nothing really studied too intensely. It's just kind of a hunch I have. But the other important thing that people I don't think realize as much is that they do need some mixture of greens in their diet. And that can really... Oh, look at him! He's getting another yawn in there. Frap, you are just showing off at this point. But anyway, they really need to get greens in their diet. And, they're not a huge fan of greens. Obviously, most humans aren't compared to some other things like meats. They really love their meats, and they really want to get to them. And they will sort around some greens if they can to get to more of the meat stuff and more of the stuff they like. They will like some vegetables and fruits, which is also important to their diet. But the greens, they're pretty important. And I think some people don't realize how important they exactly are. So just make sure you're getting some greens in there. What I do, and I've talked about this in the past, is I will mix in, I will take, like, let's say endives or kale sometimes. I don't offer kale too much. Or some mustard greens or something like that, and I'll put it in a food processor, shred it up, and then usually I'll mix it in with whatever meat I'm offering. When I do whole prey, I don't offer anything else. I just give the whole prey. But when I do meats and stuff, and I'll talk about the two main meats I offer, I mix in the greens very well as I can. And one of them that I'm going to talk about works really well with the greens because it kind of mixes in very nice. But if your Tegu is having some issues eating their greens and really is sorting through them, because like I said, they will try to, one good thing you could do, and this might kind of make their poops a little bit more wet just because it does it to them, is putting in some egg yolk in there. They love egg yolk so much, if you didn't know, and it does make their poops very diarrhea-y, so I wouldn't offer it too much, but for their transition to get them, I guess, more used to eating the greens and such, because it also has a weird texture, and I feel like that kind of throws them off a little bit. Just put in egg yolk in there and mix it in with the egg yolk, and that'll kind of get them started on not kicking out the greens and such like that. But one thing that I do is, other than whole prey, I offer two main meats, and I'll sometimes throw in some fish in there. I mostly try to do that because fish oil is beneficial to shed, so sometimes I think it's nice to throw in there. But the two main meats I do is, I think it's turkey hearts, chicken or turkey hearts, and livers, and turkey ground meat. So the ground meat is the one, like I was saying, that works really well because I can really mix it into the ground meat, and it really just like mixes all together, especially with the fruits and veggies I throw in. So that works super well with getting him to eat the greens because he really can't pick them out there. With the turkey hearts and livers, or the chicken hearts and livers, they're a little bit more difficult, but he kind of is a little bit more used to them at this point in terms of the greens being in there. Some greens he doesn't like too much, so you're going to have to kind of work with what they like, but you do still want to offer some sort of a variety. But yeah, you really just want to mainly get greens into their diet. It's super important. Hi, Frap. You come and say hi? What? I don't have food for you right now. I'm going to get it later. You can't come out either. I'm sorry. Not right now. But yeah, I think the mixture of the greens in their diet, offering some healthy meats overall, and offering, at least once a week, some whole prey items as their only meal is really key to giving them a really good, lean, muscular-oriented diet. I've just had, success with Frap so far. Oh, hold on, let me see. You see that little flap right there? That little fold? That's what I'm talking about. You could definitely see that on him right now. It's, you really want it to kind of scrunch up like that. So that's good, and now you can see, obviously, it goes away because he just, plopped out. So, but that's what I'm talking about. So, luckily, you guys got to see that. But while we enjoy his nice little booty right there, I'll just finish up. So, like I was saying, mixing in some lean meats, some meats that are healthy, and you do want to incorporate some fat in there a little bit, but just not too much. Mixing in some fruits and veggies. He really likes, what's it called? I can't think of it right now. Avocados, I think? No, not avocados. What the heck am I saying? Kiwis. I don't know why I thought that was an avocado. But he really likes kiwis. I throw in squash in there from time to time. Some bell peppers. Bell peppers are really nice if you're dealing with some hydration issues for whatever reason. But I mix those kind of in too, so he likes those. That's important to the diet. But really, the greens mixed in and having, a decent amount of his diet, or at least like a third, a fourth maybe, of his diet being, what's it called, whole prey items. I think that's really key to what's been working with him, or what's been going good with him so far. And obviously, just having the ability to, be in a nice size enclosure. He could obviously probably use a little bit more space if I really was to be honest. But I do give him some free roam time every now and then when I can. But at least this is enough space that he can get his exercise in and such. But that's really what I think is key to keeping a Tegu, a healthy weight and such. So that mixed in with the indicators, you can really kind of change their diet around. If they're getting a little bit too fatty, you can think of things you've been offering that might be a little bit too fatty, or maybe you're offering too much of a portion or something like that. But you could really kind of judge using those things. So, but Tegu obesity is kind of quite an issue nowadays. I see it quite a lot, and a lot of people really, I feel like, don't even recognize when they have sort of an obese Tegu. But yeah, so that's what I do. I thought I'd make a video on it just because I've seen it happening quite a bit. But I would recommend trying out what I've been doing. Obviously, there's many different ways you can really give them a good diet. But I would say if you're having trouble, try switching it up to what I've been doing a little bit, see how it goes. And also let me know below what you do and what works for you. And maybe people could also check the comments if they want to see more of an opinion. So go ahead and do that. But anyway, guys, that's about it for me. You can see we have the nice, beautiful Christmas tree up, decorated by my lovely girlfriend. Her artistic skills coming in clutch here. But anyway, we have an exciting announcement coming, I guess, Saturday's video, which is the next video. And I'll probably do a live stream on the topic on Sunday. I'll probably try to schedule that today. But it's going to be very reptile related, very cool. You guys should be excited. So make sure to check out Saturday's video. I can't wait. But anyway, guys, Remember to subscribe, remember to comment, like, hit that bell as well. I will see you on Saturday. See ya.